Assemble the entire swing arm on the bench.
And we don't want to drain the tranny at this moment because there's a jack stuck underneath it.
I've never seen one back off, but I'm guessing that plate's there so it doesn't happen.
Is putting a clutch in. We are going to build some power with this. This is a 117. Rekluse is definitely the top dog in the high performing clutches. For those of you that don't know, Loctite is just sugar and water. What makes the Loctite more Loctitey is just the sugar consistency in there. Don't try and eat it. It's not good tasting sugar if you...
Saying I got excited and tossed the swing arm in without you guys seeing it. So I just wanted to go over like the whole install process, because you don't assemble the entire swing arm on the bench. You have to assemble this arm and leg setup here, then you assemble this guy and you put them in one by one. So you start on this side, on the brake side, get it in, put the pivot shaft through so it sets this in, and then you put the shock bolt in through the shock and this guy, get that guy in. Then you line up the left side, put the pivot shaft through the left side, and then you line all this stuff up, still without the back plate in. Once that's all done, you get the nut on the pivot shaft, you get the nut in on the shock mount. Then you put this in and torque the 4 3/8 bolts on the side here. I wanted to go over that.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It is. It sounds like it, but it actually went together very nice. But I wanted to go over that because you don't just jam it all together and then put it in the bike. It's kind of an alignment process in a way, to where this sits flush in the swing arm, the shock mounts are flush together, and it goes together like a nice big piece.
And that's all in the directions, right? Step by step, which there are pictures and there's pretty dialed directions.
Very in-depth directions, pictures, it's a book, yes.
Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this.
Do this. Because I wouldn't have known that. If I didn't read the directions, I would have just assumed you slap all this together and then put it in the bike, and that probably would have been a headache.
I mean, worst case Ontario, it's not even gonna work. Need to take this guy out. And we don't want to drain the tranny at this moment because there's a jack stuck underneath it.
Let's just do it fast.
Stuff some rags down in that gap between the frame and the transmission. That way we got somewhere for it to leak. It's not going to be a lot. It's just going to be a tiny bit of fluid pissing out of there, but it's enough to make a bit of a mess that I don't want to deal with. You got a seal ready to go?
Mm-hmm, right behind you.
She lubed up and ready to go?
Nope. So much like this main seal, like Ryan did earlier in this video, same concept with this guy, except use a Phillips or flathead, whatever you can get in there. And you want to hit like, so the flappy part, like the seal part, there's the seal lip right here, right against the, what would you call this, inner race? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the inner race. Then there's like a nice metal face, and then obviously the lip. You want to stay away from the sealing surface of this lip and get through that kind of metal base, and then you can kind of just pry this guy out. So usually aim for one of these little square guys. You want to go as straight as possible. Kind of work it in, pry. You want to be careful when you pry too, that you're not prying against the case too much.
Put that back in the hole. Bend it, push it down. Down. Towards down. Yep. Like this. Now shove it. Now hit it up in there.
I don't want to fucking hit the inside.
Hit it up in there. You're not going to hit the inside.
All right.
Stop. Now if you stick something behind this, so you have leverage. Maybe even just the handle. Put the handle behind it. Something big. There you go. Now lift that up a little bit. Shove that back in there.
I don't got enough length, brother.
That's what she said.
Pop.
There it is. Get the other one ready quickly.
Make sure she's nice and centered on that inner brace. And this one presses in nice with a little bit of thumb pressure. Yeah.
She's in all the way.
Yeah.
Now you really didn't even lose enough fluid for it to even matter, but we'll double check the levels and all that good stuff once the bike's back together. Before we even ride it, we check everything over anyways, but that's the way to do it. Quick and easy.
And you don't get all that oil on your dad's lift. Red Loctite, sprocket nut socket. Get your sprocket on the splines. These guys are threaded normally. Now I know there's a torque spec for this guy. I don't know it.
Hit that thing. Tight as fuck is the torque spec.
Oh, look at that, first try. Don't forget the locking plate for your sprocket shaft or your sprocket nut. I've never seen one back off, but I'm guessing that plate's there so it doesn't happen. Right?
I've seen those screws back out of that plate, the plate come out.
Really?
Oh yeah, guys not torquing those dudes in properly.
Yeah.
These are 1/4-20 bolts. They need to be red Loctite and torqued to 120 inch-pounds. And I would double torque them. Torque them, then check them again.
Nice, beautiful thread in there. 2 for 2. The hell's a Newton meter?
Oh no, I speak English. And it ain't the King's English. What would our English be?
Depends who you ask. I think some people would say it's wrong. Beep. Always good to double check the torque, especially on bolts that are like offset from each other. At least in like triple trees and shit like that. When you torque one, it loosens the other.
Anything you're compressing.
That makes sense. Yeah. If you're like moving something in, one's gonna tighten and kind of.
You could loosen the other one once it compresses the whole entire unit. So then you have fully compressed safety measures.
I had a wise man once tell me, if you want something to seal, it should be as clean as factory.
You want to get all this stuff off of here, just so when you go and mate things up, which maybe it don't make a difference, but I'd say it does just because it's there. Why not get rid of it?
Yep.
You clean this shaft up too, get that corrosion off of there. We'll put a little seize of the anti on that shaft just so she shifts a lot smoother. And with that being said, we are almost at 100,000 followers. We're like 8,000 away, which is a lot, and it seems like a lot, but when you're in the 90,000 plus range, 8,000 could happen pretty fast. So like, subscribe, tell a bunch of friends, go out there and push it. Give us a big old boost if you can, because we want that plaque. We've worked hard for it.
Every time you order a chain kit from Kruesi Originals on KruesiOriginals.com, where every $5 you spend enters you in a chance to win a motorcycle that we built. Right now, it's a 200 horsepower Street Glide. I know you want that thing. You get the gasket kit, complete gasket kit with all of your inner primary seals, outer primary gasket, and derby cover, yes. It's an O-ring on this guy, I forgot. Twin cams will come with a derby cover seal. You get everything you need.
Come with fluid?
And it comes with fluid too, yeah.
Really?
Yep, you get gasket kit, get chain kit, and fluid all in one spot.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. How much is that kit?
We did actually just have to raise the retail price. It is now $675. Whatever finish, raw, polish, or black.
And that comes with all that?
Chain, front sprocket, rear sprocket, spacer. Well, the primary kit is an add-on option, so it'll be more.
So if you get the full kit.
The full kit, which is like up.
So it doesn't come with the primary
bucks.
seals. You can get that as an add-on.
There's an add-on option for it. Yes.
Right there, though. You don't got to go searching for it or any of that stuff.
Yep, right on the page. One-stop shop.
Our website is highly optimized to make it user-friendly as possible, due to the fact that I hate computers and hate doing stuff online. So it was made for me to be user-friendly.
If Ryan can't order from there,
no one can.
No one can.
Yeah, damn right. If I can't get it done, I mean, if I can get it done, anybody can. That's for sure.
Comes with a fresh starter seal O-ring. We're going to replace that guy. You get a tower gasket, inner primary gasket, inner primary bearing seal, derby cover gasket. You even get drain plug O-ring.
Wow.
Covers the whole thing.
I personally never replaced one of those before. I always thought it was just a bullshit upsell.
Yeah. I've never really seen one leak.
No,
you know, like
we always put pipe dope on the threads anyways.
Yeah.
So, like, most of the guys in the industry I came up with would just throw the O-ring in the trash and put pipe dope on it because it was useless. But yeah, I've never replaced one. I guess if it was like smoked, you could change it out. But I mean, you probably should. I'm just giving you bad habits, but.
Industry secrets.
Yeah. Because dealerships and all the little parts shops and shit, they're always trying to sell you every 50 cents extra they can come up on you from, you know, and I felt like that was just a bullshit come up. Like, I'm going to sell you this O-ring for $1.50. You don't have it, it's going to leak. Well, if I can never leaked on me in 20 years, but
yeah.
What do I know?
I almost just made the grave old mistake. Never leave old O-rings or gaskets on the lift.
Hell no.
Toss them every time. As soon as you pull it off the bike, in the trash can. Because
Amen.
you'll finish the bike and that thing will be sitting there just staring at you and you're just going to be like...
And then you'll be tearing the bike apart again to make sure you did it right.
All the way apart. Hardware. Start with the shift shaft. Find the hole there. This guy you want to be real careful with. You're not banging around the back and destroying the seal. You'll feel the seal catch the race and just kind of give her a gentle motion. It shouldn't fight you going on. It should just slip right in. There's dowels that'll catch it. Starter's in her hole. Get these guys hand threaded on. These inner primary bolts have been the same inner primary bolts since the 6-speed twin cam stuff. 5/16 bolts, 22 foot-pounds, 18 to 22 if you wanted to be specific. For good measure, go back over, make sure you didn't miss anything. Mistakes happen.
Just like another compression like that, once you've compressed all those seals, it's always a good idea to just go through and just go around in a circle and just torque every one of them again, because sometimes the one you started with might be a lot looser now that everything's compressed that it was torquing against. Pretty good. The next step, getting this wafer thing down, is putting a clutch in. We are going to build some power with this. This is a 117, whatever it is. We're going to cam it, HPI throttle body. This thing should rip, make probably 130s, I would say, easily. So we're going to put a clutch in it because you need some clutch, right? And Rekluse is definitely the top dog in the high performing clutches. This dude is pretty sick. It is, instead of, I think, 10 or 11 frictions and steels, this thing comes with like 157. I don't know, it's a lot. But it makes for a whole lot more mating surface. Comes with different spring ratios for a different spring pull. We usually run them pretty light because this has enough clutch. You don't need a big heavy spring. That's just, you don't. My bike makes 190 foot-pounds and 202 horsepower, and I've got the light springs in mine. Not a problem. Steels, everything. This is just a clutch pack. Does this come with those little weird retainer rings and all that stuff that you got to put together?
All Rekluses come with those little keepers.
Keeps them nice. Keeps them from chattering and keeps them from beating each other to death. But dude, they've got...
Keeps it from digging into the clutch.
It's such a wild clutch setup. This one doesn't have the auto shift in it, does it?
No. Okay. That's just a replacement pack.
Well, here it is. Super dope clutch. This is the extreme high end of clutches. Like, you can get your basic like BDL or Energy One clutch pack drop-ins. Those are good. Those are in the couple $100 range. This is in the extreme clutch. This is just the baddest of the bad right here. This is the big dog. This is the shit, one would say. So this one's available on KruesiOriginals.com. Get you a bunch of entries to enter, win a bike, and all that good stuff. And
they also have different stages of their clutch. That's just the replacement pack and spring. They also have an inner hub replacement and a whole outer basket and inner hub. That's what you have in your bagger.
I got the whole
Yeah.
Shazam. They also have an auto clutch, which we got one for the chopper because I was going to do a jockey shift on it. But then the jockey shift stuff wasn't going to work out, so we didn't use it. But that one, you don't have to use the clutch. You can just pull up to a stop sign and let off the gas, and it disengages itself, and you give it gas and go, and you just shift when you want to shift, and it's pretty sick. I'm going to pass this over to Trent because he knows how to put these in, because you've done quite a few of them now.
I have. I did the one in your bagger, did the one in your Nightster. They make a Nightster clutch.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
They're the only ones that make a Nightster clutch.
Yeah.
So that's nice, because that's also nice. Tom! Tom! We might be building a couple stunt bikes out of a Nightster for some people, and then we were just trying to think of the basics that you would need to make it stunt ride easier. Chain drive kit, gear it for sure, our slip-on muffler, front springs, our seat, and a clutch. And it's gonna decimate all of your friends.
Pretty much everything a Dyna needs.
Yeah. Everything that you would have to put on a Dyna or any other motorcycle to make it a good stunt bike, but half as much. You don't need a motor mount because you're not going to break cases. You don't need to tune it because it makes way more power than your Dyna's ever going to make. You don't need to put handlebars on it because it comes with a pretty good bar and riser set, but for cool guy looks, we're going to put some cooler looking shit on it. You don't need brakes because it comes with real Brembos all the way around.
Over-braked.
You don't even need a master because it comes with an RCS 15. You don't need rear brakes. You don't need to upgrade jack shit. You just put a slip-on muffler on it and it makes 100 plus horsepower, and you don't need to tune it. You need a chain drive because gearing is always great. You don't necessarily need it, but it makes your life easier, and a clutch always makes things easier too. But just for ease of stunt riding, it needs all the basic shit that a Dyna needs to do the same stuff, only this does it at a much more higher level, and you don't need as much stuff overall.
I'm still on a stock clutch.
Yeah, stock clutch is good.
Yeah, it works.
Mine just hits just a little more. It's really, really good. Okay, here goes Trent.
Hey, I'm Trent. We're gonna put this clutch in and this primary in, but before we put the primary into the inner primary case, I'm gonna soak the clutch plates in the fluid that we're gonna put in the primary. This is very important. Every time you have a new clutch, it helps with clutch engagement. You wanna soak these friction plates so they can, what is it, like just properly adhere?
Absorb
Absorb the material, and then you get
you don't want a dry spot because the dry spot's gonna make a hot spot, and then that's gonna burn a clutch up.
There you go. I'm gonna look in the instructions, and it's always important to go with the fluid that the clutch manufacturer recommends. They make the clutch, they know about clutches. It's very important you listen to them.
Chances are they know more about clutches than you do.
Yeah, chances are they actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
For optimal clutch performance, Rekluse recommends using fresh, clean oil that meets JASO-MA oil rating requirements.
So they're basically saying any primary oil that is good.
Pretty much. All right, step one, get your primary fluid of your choice. That is the whatever I just said earlier, approved oil.
JDM spec.
Yep, the good spec oil. Dump it into your container. And you grab your friction plates out of the Ziploc bag.
Man, it's a nice Ziploc. You can reuse that.
Yeah.
You know, if you need to pack some chicken up or something.
And then you don't want to just dump the whole pack in there. You want to do each disc individually so both sides are...
Get fluidity.
Get soaked. And
you,
then
you want that flap or frap or frappe? What do the hood bitches sing about their vaginas?
Wop.
Wop?
Wop. Wet ass.
That's a derogatory term towards Italian Americans, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. But nobody cares about that anymore because they're fair skinned.
Oh, that's true, so it doesn't matter. Bunch of wet ass pussies. Aren't you a wet ass?
Am I? Me?
Yeah.
Why am I? Oh, I mean, I'm half. Or no, a quarter. Quarter? My mom's half.
Your mom's half wet.
Oh, shit. And then if you'll notice, these are just a little bit thicker than the ones I just put in there.
Just like the ones who use that term now. A little bit thicker too.
No comment.
You need to put something in the middle of that to get the level to go up higher.
Yeah.
You got something you can just drop in there to take up space. That almost worked.
But you know, that actually did work pretty well. Here, I'll do another one.
It's stuck together like that. Really? If that's how it comes?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Just had a little.
You just didn't know what you were doing. Flip it the other way. There it is. Now you're accomplishing a little bit.
Now with the compensator stack in there, we didn't go over how to put that in. You should have your service manual. Your service manual will tell you how to put all that back together. Get your
Quick tip.
clutch.
It goes in the same way it came out. If you keep track of your shit,
There
you're
you go.
organized, you shouldn't have many problems.
There's that too.
If you got a disaster on your lift and shit everywhere and shit everywhere, then you're probably going to be screwed. But if you're organized and clean, things will be easier. You should not put that in yet. You should put the tensioner in first.
To be able to lock it.
And put tension on this so you don't get that flopping around when you go to torque things.
Hey, Paisley, if you're still watching, we could use a little bit of red Loctite. Thank you for the care package. We really appreciate it. Been working off that since we got it.
Jesus Christ.
More than $1 a milliliter.
We gotta figure something out here, man.
Oh God, you believe that?
We need to figure something out. The price of Loctite is out of control, according to Tom.
It's more than $1 a milliliter. Come on, people.
Man, we need to start mixing our own sugar water. For those of you that don't know, Loctite is just sugar and water. What makes the Loctite more Loctitey is just the sugar consistency in there. Don't try and eat it. It's not good tasting sugar. If you try and eat it, it tastes awful. Get it on your lips, it's awful. It's awful. Don't eat it. But it is made from sugar.
So yeah, the initial is 100 and then 175.
This guy, important to torque properly.
Yes.
This guy, hit her with a gun.
Yep.
But this, torque of this is what sets your crank from walking side to side, which also the pinion shaft on the other side is the main one that sets that. So if it's torqued properly, this doesn't really matter anyways, but it's an ongoing argument. Some say it's feasible, some say hit it with an air gun.
Personally, for my peace of mind, I'm gonna go off of what the book says every time because the book is right. All right, initial torque, 100 foot-pounds. And then you back it off a rotation, which I'm gonna borrow Ryan's breaker bar for that. And then the final torque is 170 foot-pounds.
170 is a good bit of torque. Are you gonna be able to pull 170?
I can pull 170, brother.
That's it.
Fun fact, or funny story, the reason why this red wire is on this tool and why this tool is so galled up, I left this inside of an FXR primary that I used to own back in the day that we built and sold. You guys might remember it. It was that gray FXR that ended up going to, I think his name's Josh. I'm Riding Places on Instagram. Hangs out with Thrash and Supply and all those boys.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, went to him. He posted a video or a post of all his old bikes and shit, and that bike was like the first one.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, I remember that thing.
Oh man.
He didn't
That was
get
the
it
last
off of us.
FXR we ever did.
Oh, wait a minute, I need to up the torque on this guy.
Had a 97-inch Evo or something in it, right?
So I don't remember what motor was in it. We didn't touch the motor, but
Big
you knew who built it before.
It's a big stroker Evo that was,
It was nasty.
yeah.
That thing ran really good. All right, here we go, 175.
Does he have it? Oh, he does. There it is. It's a lot of torque.
Those steels are a perfect example of a cooked clutch right there.
That thing is fried. I would say that's normally a lot of not letting the clutch out.
A lot of through an intersection.
Yeah, riding the shit out of it.
Look at that.
So, homie, you got to get better at riding the clutch, that's for sure, because we're putting an expensive one in here, and if you do that to a Rekluse,
You're gonna feel it.
yeah. That thing's fried. Fried.
You'd be amazed what your mechanic can tell about your riding style by working on your bike.
Yeah.
Listen to your mechanic.
Yeah,
If he's a good one.
let the clutch out. that thing's cooked.
On the insides of these, you can kind of see where each friction has been resting. Over time, they'll flutter and vibrate and wear grooves into this basket because the basket is aluminum. Rekluse sells these little steel inserts, which are much more...
They're much less pliable than aluminum.
Yeah, stronger and more, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for.
The tensile strength is higher. When you put a steel versus aluminum, the steel's gonna win every time.
Less prone to wear.
And when you're putting these steel friction plates in there and stuff, and they beat these grooves that you can already see, those grooves now become notches to where the plates want to jam. Instead of opening all the way, they get stuck, and that's when you get a slip and clutch and stuff. Wear marks, it's not fully worn yet, but it will happen.
Happens every time.
And with the Rekluse, with these dudes right here, it can't happen, which is forking genius, honestly.
It is really nice, yeah.
Look how they go on.
Just slide right on in there. It does kind of make putting the frictions in a pain in the ass, but when they're in there, they're in there.
Hey, man.
Per the setup sheet here, there's 3 thicker frictions and 1 different steel plate. So it's important you get those in the right place. And Rekluse retains the diaphragm spring and this diaphragm spring seat from the factory clutch. Most aftermarket clutches don't require this, but Rekluse does. So you get the seat and then make sure the diaphragm spring, the bevel is faced out at you.
Concave.
The first friction will be a thick guy. This is the said thick guy versus the thin guy. Thickums.
Put them in the thickums.
There we go. Kind of walk that guy all the way in there. Grab a steel. It uses a standard steel back here.
Dip it in fluid. Friction steel. So Trent's gonna friction steel this thing to death. Put that all back together.
Steel.
Follow the directions. Do what it says, and I'm gonna stop filming because it's boring to watch.
Like so. There she is.
This one's the best.
Bitch!
How many hours to install it in this turnkey?
Now we have the clutch pack in. That's all dialed. Got the pressure plate on. Now we are gonna put in a Trask Power Plate. This is actually the pressure plate. I guess that would be like a face plate. This retains all the pressure. We put the Trask one on because it's made out of billet aluminum. It's a little bit less prone to flexing than the old steel one, and it has spring buckets where the old one does not. It has these kind of little retainers that probably don't do much of anything.
It's like an internal spring bucket instead of external, and doesn't have as much shit.
Yeah.
That is like 45% more clamping rate or something like that.
It is, yes.
I don't remember. I'm totally just made that percentage up off the top of my head. It might be more. I think it's more. It might be less. It might be wrong.
Someone correct us. But per the instructions, your factory clutch is rated to hold 135 foot-pounds of torque, which in these M8s, if you do pretty much anything motor-wise, you're gonna surpass that. These things make a crazy amount of power. They are actually a really good motor. So we are gonna up the spring rate of that. The light spring, according to their percentages or torque capacity, these are rated for 175 foot-pounds, which...
That's the lightest spring?
That's their HD light, and then they have their HD XTR, which isn't even on here.
Which is their lightest spring? That's the one that's rated for 175 foot-pounds?
The light, so no, the extra light spring. White stripe. So this is the extra light spring, rated for 135. This is the light spring, the purple, rated for 175 foot-pounds. And this is the standard spring, rated for 200 foot-pounds.
That's the my dick's just too big spring right there.
Yeah, you like arm pump. That's what this spring tells me.
Yeah. Yeah, that one says shitty ride.
Because
let's go with the purple.
Yeah. And change in lever pull is minus 10% on these guys. So it'll hold more torque and have a lighter lever pull.
That is also nice.
Yep.
I have the heavier one in mine because I make 190 foot-pounds, and my clutch is butter.
It is really nice on that thing.
Yeah, smooth as glass. Like, it's not like pulling a freaking diaphragm spring twin cam. That's just destroying your bicep tendon and everything in your shoulder.
Yeah. We found out that the Trask plate uses proprietary springs. These are narrow enough to fit in the buckets that are there, and the Rekluse ones are not. They're a little bit thicker. What should we do here?
Let's run the Trask ones because it's only a 10 over, I think, is Trask. So it's probably the same as this one. The Trask one's supposed to be good for some hundreds of horsepower. So we're going strong anyways.
We're gonna run the Trask stuff.
We have the Trask stuff in my chopper, and it's still buttery smooth. Just the M8 whole clutch system is just far superior all the way.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Get them all in there. You want to make sure the springs are seated nice and happy. Kind of get a couple threads.
You don't need to Loctite this stuff either. This is one of those few things on a Harley-Davidson you do not Loctite because it is under sprung pressure. So this is like having the ultimate lock nut, lock washer, Loctite on here. Once it's on sprung pressure, it's hard for a bolt to back out. So once this is torqued down, and you do need to torque this to spec because they can be broken, and you want to bring these down evenly like Trent is doing right now. Don't just crank one down, you will break shit and you will destroy this. So just a little bit at a time, nice and even. Take your time, have patience. Patience is not only a virtue, it's also an extreme skill to have when building custom motorcycles, because otherwise, if you don't have patience, you have a lot of wasted money. So Trent's going to torque this to 90 to 110 inch-pounds, which basically it's not a quarter 20, but it's basically a quarter 20 bolt. So you could probably hit it with 120, but 110 inch-pounds is what I would recommend. Like I said, it's under spring pressure, so the thing will hold on pretty solid.
Just like that, we got the outer primary back on. We are gonna stop here because the clutch lever is not on right now, so we won't get a proper adjustment at the clutch and the rear hub situation. So we're kind of at a stopping point right here before we could go on to anything else, and there's a lot more that we want to show you guys. So clutch is in, primary's on, front sprocket is on, and then once we put the rear end together, we'll finish up the chain kit on that.
So that's it. We're calling it a day. That's as far as we're going to get on that guy. We're at one of those fabulous waiting points. So like, subscribe, ring that bell. Tell all your friends. We're almost at 100K subscribers. It's been a long, long journey to get there, and would really love to make it as soon as possible because, you know, I want to throw it out for everybody and brag about it a little bit. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, every $5 you spend on the website enters you a chance to win this bike right here. And we do got some dope new long sleeves and some dope new hoodies that match. It's a hoodie with stuff on the sleeves. It's pretty sick. Lots of hats, lots of good stuff. All the parts you could ever imagine for your Harley-Davidson. If it's on our website, it's because it's the best of the best. If it's not the best of the best, it's not on our website. KruesiOriginals.com. Thank you very much. Peace!